everyone, and welcome to Miss Temple's apartment. Yay! So, today we are going to read one of my favorite stories called A House for Hermit Crab by Eric Carle. Let's read. Time to move, said Hermit Crab one day in January. I've grown too big for this little shell. He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too snug. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the floor of the ocean, but it was frightening out in the open sea without a shell to hide in. What if a big fish comes along and attacks me, he thought. I must find a new house soon. Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling about inside to see how it felt. It felt just right. But it looked so, so plain, thought Hermit Crab. In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. How beautiful you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and live in my house? It is so plain. It needs you. I'll come, whispered a small sea anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up by his claw and put it on his shell. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the sea floor. How handsome you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to decorate my house? I would, signaled a sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked him up with his claw and put him on his house. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. How pretty you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful? I would, creaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a neat path behind them. How tidy and hard-working you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and help clean my house? I would, offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They were sharp with prickly needles. How fierce you look, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to protect my house? I would, answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. It's so dark here, thought Hermit Crab. How dim it is, murmured the sea urchin. How gloomy it is, whispered the starfish. How murky it is, complained the coral. I can't see, said the snail. And it's like nighttime, cried the sea anemone. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the water. How bright you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to light up our house? I would, replied the lanternfish, and it swam over near his shell. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. How sturdy you are, said Hermit Crab. Would you mind if I rearranged you? Not at all, answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell. Now my house is perfect, cheered Hermit Crab. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Little by little, over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another bigger home, but he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. They have been so good to me, said Hermit Crab. They are like my family. How could I ever leave them? In December, a small hermit crab passed by. I have outgrown my shell, she said. Would you know of a place for me? I have outgrown my house too, said Hermit Crab. I must move on. You are welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to my friends. I promise, said the little Hermit Crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. Couldn't stay in this little shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he had ever remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house, a big, empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain, but sponges, he thought. Barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. The end. Okay, so I'm going to get myself set up. All you need is a white piece of paper, a pencil, marker, and some crayons. We're going to draw the perfect house for Hermit Crab. Again, I'm going to go and get myself set up, and I can't wait to see what we make. See you in a second. Okay, so I have my paper set up in landscape mode. I have my markers. I have my crayons. I have a pencil or two. I'm actually going to sharpen this pencil, and then we will start. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start with a really big circle on this side of our paper. Okay, so we're going to start with a big circle right there on this side. Now, hermit crabs are kind of funny. Their shells are like cut off here. Okay, and then we've got a curved rectangle. So we're gonna add that on top of our circle that we just made. Now, from here, we're gonna go around that circle that we made, but instead of going down here, we're gonna make it so it goes down a little bit and becomes like a Princess Leia bun. See what I did? Okay. Next up, we're gonna give our hermit crab a little face. So we're gonna start with a little circle, and we can always change it more later. Our hermit crab is gonna be connected inside of that curved rectangle. And then we're gonna give it 2 lines. Well, it's gonna be 4 lines. These are gonna be our hermit crab's claws. So what I'm doing here is I'm making them a little curved, cutting them, cool. Next up, we're gonna make 2 that go like that. Okay. Next up, we're gonna give him 4 lines, 2 circles on top. We're gonna give him a big hermit crab smile. And then he's got 2 antennae. Okay. He looks so cute. But now we have to put things on his shell. So I'm gonna make only 3 things, but you can choose to make as many of them as you want. If you remember, he had a sea anemone, a fish, snail, some barnacles, an anemone, I think I said that already. If you remember, he has a anemone, some snails, some coral, a fish, a sea star. So what you can do is you can choose to put whatever you want on there. I'm gonna put 1 little snail. I'm gonna put a star. And I'm gonna put one of the sea anemones. Okay, I'm gonna put him on the ocean floor. And then we're gonna give him a fish friend here. Okay, I love my picture. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my crayons and I'm gonna color in. I'm also gonna outline with my Crayola marker, so I'll speed this up. Okay, so remember, this is just a suggestion on how you could draw your hermit crab. You could color it any color you want. This is just what I looked off of the book for. If you would like to send me your work, please send it to me at htemple@schools.nyc.gov. You can tag me on Instagram at Miss Temple's Apartment, or you can dojo them to me. Anything you want is fine. Can't wait to see what you made. See you next time.